Welcome to Swimming with Sepsey, where we break down various life topics, bring on inspirational guests to talk about their lives, their experiences, and encourage you to swim through your own inner thoughts, emotions, and feelings to inspire a change within you that will hopefully lead to an outer change in your own personal reality. I ask that throughout this episode and all future episodes that you come with an open mind, an open heart, and a willingness to look at yourself in a different way and to look at the world in a different way. I'm grateful for each and every one of you that is tuned in this current moment, and I look forward to sharing many more moments with you. And with that, let's dive on in. Yeah, nice.
Perfecto.
I don't know why we don't do that.
I was going to say that could be our clap right there, too.
Yeah, it could be super simple. We make it extra hard. Well, I mean, it's not extra hard. It's just cooler.
Just the alligator.
Yeah.
Alligator clap.
Oh, boy. Let me light this.
How's your day been, bro?
It's been
I've
good,
been with
man.
you all day, but if you're harboring some feelings, you should let me know. I'm just playing. Just call you out on the podcast.
Help. She won't leave me alone. Just right away, just as soon as we start recording. By the way, if you're like harboring any feelings towards me, like I would love you to just let them out.
I'm just playing.
Oh, good God.
God.
Welcome to Swimming with Sepsey, with your host, Joshua Sepsey. Ow, ow, ow!
Whoop, whoop.
Hype myself up.
Hey,
And then-
suavemente.
Our co-host, who also has Hispanic roots somehow.
Put me out there like that. They're like, prove it.
What do you think? How do you think I am? I'm 50% Puerto Rican. Psh, bullshit. Everyone, yeah, right.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for letting them know.
Anyways, Nicki, Tama, Chesky.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for coming on
Thanks
board.
for supporting us.
Thanks for swimming with us through these crazy times.
Man.
These crazy topics. Fun little adventures I feel like we have, like just kind of swimming through the ocean with everybody, just like going through whatever the heck goes through our brains, you know, as we're diving in and whatever the Akash wants to spill out throughout the topics. Excited to have some guests on soon. So you guys don't have to be so bored with just us all the time. We'll bring some other people on because I'm sure you guys are like, these guys?
These two guys again.
These two? No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, announcements. Still offering, and I know, if you go back to the Akashic Records episode.
You guys better capitalize on that.
Some people
I
have.
might just use the coupon, dude.
Some people have.
No,
You get
really.
$20 off a reading.
That's sick.
Bust it out.
Hope is
Just screenshot, send me a notice, say you subscribe. Let me know, hey, I subscribed, $20 discount, I'll shoot it your way. Use it. Give you a reading. One-on-one time. Also, the guided meditations will be coming shortly, probably at the beginning of, I don't know when you guys are hearing this, sometime in May. I think we're going to launch I think I'm going to stick to maybe like a Thursday, Friday schedule. I got a couple of them in the works. I'm just trying to get some fun music to them, right? I
Nice.
want to kind of switch them up for each one. So
Are you making the music for 'em?
Yeah, I'm gonna make
Oh,
the music
nice.
for them too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put like some cool intentional music, kind of like how I have the intro music.
Nice.
I mean, it
dude.
won't be as much because it's a little much for like a meditation, but something soothing and smooth, you know.
That's dope.
And then you get to hear my beautiful voice just kind of radiate through your headphones, or, you know, and they're short meditations, probably only like 10 minutes, you know. If you're just starting meditation, I really only suggest either doing guided meditations like that short or 5-minute meditations, because, look, we've only been talking for 5 minutes, and it feels like we've been talking for quite some time. So, start there. Today, what else we have? Oh, shout out. I'm going to say this shout out because I'm excited for it. We're making t-shirts.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm going to be wearing mine all the time.
Yeah.
Every podcast now, I'm going to wear mine.
Well, I mean, I like kind of what we do. Like,
Yeah, true.
I mean, like, we'll wear them every now and again. But
Yeah. We just got these shirts, actually, at Goodwill.
Yeah. So we go to Goodwill to get, like, fun stuff for either the artwork, or, like, just t-shirts, just fun shirts. Like, we got this at Goodwill.
I really
So
like
to
that one on you.
Yeah, this one's cool, right? I
Yeah.
like this one, too. So we thrift art to kind of showcase on there. Like, I think we bought that one today.
I was literally going to ask. I didn't want to ask because I didn't see it. But I was
Yeah,
like,
put it
where's
up.
that? But it's right above
you
me.
saw
Okay,
that one,
cool.
so we're like, yeah, let's throw
Yeah.
that one up there.
Cool.
This was a Goodwill buy. This was a Goodwill buy. You may see this one in every episode. I just feel like someone's kid might have made it, and like it was very precious. Or who knows, maybe an adult made it. I don't know, but it was beautiful. So, and more on the t-shirts another time because that's still in the works. But today's topic is something that's not widely talked about, I would say, but something that I've personally gone through, like recognizing in myself. I know you've gone through it, recognizing in yourself how you can utilize it, you know, to your best interest, right? And I know there's tons of other people that go through, you know, what you want to call episodes in your life of discovering these things about yourself. So we're talking like gifts and abilities. Some you can call psychic abilities, or gifts like a child just kind of knowing. Like if you have a kid that's just like, how did you know that? Or you have dreams where, you know, someone's getting pregnant. Oh, you know, my sister's done that a couple times. Like,
Dang.
my mom's like had dreams of like knowing when people are gonna pass, and like has like
Sheesh.
talked to them. And it's so like they're out there, and they're being more, not being more, but they're more prominent these days. You know, you're not being hunted down anymore like the old witch times. If you say you could do these things, you'd be hunted and killed, and now it's more embraced and accepted. So we're going to dive into gifts and abilities today, which is some of my favorites because the reason why I say it's not talked about is because I guess depending on your social network, right? You don't really hear many people say like, oh, I'm hearing things, or, you know, I just had this vision the other day, or I was sitting in, you know, and something just came to me, or I just kind of knew you were gonna call, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I was thinking about you, and here you are. Like that's that telepathy. If you were to kind of boil it down, like that's when someone's really thinking about you, or, you know, you get that sense of like, maybe I should reach out, or
Yeah.
it might come to your attention as well. And that's where you get the, oh my God, I was literally just thinking about you. And either here you are, or you run to somebody at the store, and, you know, you were, it also goes into like the connectivity of the collective consciousness. So I firmly believe like telepathy is possible and real, and I think we can do it in this day and age, which is super freaking cool. Just
Yeah. Well, I think the way that telepathy.
I don't think it works like that. But
Those are the sound effects actually happening in the background.
they're within such a high frequency that we can't hear it.
Dude, our antennas, though, honestly, I don't know. I always will, like, imagine that, like, when you're processing certain things, and, like, I feel like when your soul really wants to have a conversation with someone, like, they're always having a conversation, like, even without you really, like, being aware of it. And, like, I feel like sometimes you can pass it off as, like, a feeling of, like, ooh, I just really want to talk to you, or like, I wish I could tell you. Because, like, for instance, like, an example, and I don't know, an example of telepathy at least is, like, even at work, people I wouldn't, like, suspect to be, like, picking up on certain things. Like if I want to have a conversation with my manager, for example, like, I'll literally sit with it for a while on, like, making attention on what I want to talk about, and I won't even need to bring it up. He'll literally, like, ask me, like, specifically about it. And I'm like, that's dope.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm surprised with who it happens with, because I'm like, a lot of the time I feel like it can happen with, like, anybody, huh?
Everybody's got antennas, bro.
I know, dude.
Everybody's
it's pretty
got
dope.
antennas. Look how long mine are.
It just comes from your hair. That's awesome, dude.
It's all and it's really good. Like, my antennas get really good when it's humid out, because my hair just gets wider.
You had me for a second, bro.
I did have you for a second. You were like, really?
Actually, are you? Because I was thinking about hair follicles. I was like, really? It's like, is this really how we're absorbing all of our information?
Yeah, don't cut your hair. That's where it all comes from.
Yeah.
That's why the military has you cut your hair.
Bro.
No,
okay. See, you could convince me right now.
Totally
you could build a case, dude.
Totally
you could build a case.
I totally could. They want control. No.
All right.
So many bald people I know that are totally connected.
That's fair. That's right. I wasn't thinking about those bald people. I'm sorry.
Sorry, bald
I know
people.
you guys are still out there.
You guys are still... I know you guys are still out there. You're still kicking, still living life, loving every day. No, but there are theories that actually the longer your hair, like the deeper the connection you have to spirit. And it's like
that's ancient though, bro.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that goes back to
old.
Culture.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cultures.
Yeah.
I would believe that.
But that was partially, it felt right with me.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted long hair. So I kind of was just like, well, all right, we'll grow it out. I get you. I hear you. Cool. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I resonate with that too.
Yeah. But I want to talk about a couple ones that are fun.
Okay.
These are like the big three. I'm totally going to mess them up because I don't even know how to say them. Well, you have like clairaudience, like the clairs.
Oh, yeah,
clairaudience. Clair assistance. It's clair assistance. And then there's a third one.
Clairvoyance. That's like the classic. Yeah, clairvoyance.
Yeah. So it's like clear knowing, clear hearing, and clear seeing. I don't ever care for the names because I'm not one to put a name to things. If you want to put a name to it, cool. You want to know what the name is, cool. There you go. Look them up. Also, that's going to be going on. You're going to hear our air conditioning because it is approaching summertime in AZ and it's hot. Sorry, I am not doing a podcast without air conditioning.
No way.
Don't care how it affects the sound. Deal with it.
That's why we got these crisp microphones for y'all.
AKG P120s. Oh, dude, these are the microphones that dude was selling.
Yeah?
Yeah, we could easily just get a couple more.
Let's do it.
Nice. Manifesting, bros. So I want to talk about a couple of these. We'll start with the clear knowing.
Okay.
She's so cute. ADHD. Just kidding. I don't know. She's just adorable. Hey, baby. Clear knowing is something that I would say everyone has. Personally, I would say everyone has it. If you want to believe me, don't believe me. You want to say it's a special gift? Sure. Here's the thing. There's been a moment in your life, whether you believe you have gifts or not, where you know that something is good for you, or you know that something is bad for you, or you just know that someone's going to do something, or someone is the way they are, or, I just know you're lying. I know you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
Clear knowing is as simple as that. It's not some sort of, now it can be taken to the extreme of, I'm getting knowledge and wisdom about upcoming events, but I would say that's more along the lines of clear seeing. We're going to use those terms because I'm not going to try and use the clear terms, because for listeners here, you don't use those words every day, neither do I. So this clear knowing is something that's innately in us, and it ties with your intuition. It ties with the ability to listen to that gut feeling. And it's real simple. It allows you to slow things down. Well, it doesn't allow you to slow things down. However, when you do slow things down, and when you do think about things a little bit, or for actually a better sake, when you feel a little bit more, then you know a little bit more, or a lot more, about what to do for your next decision, or what to do for your next steps, whether it be in a relationship, communication-wise, doing something for them. It could be in a business endeavor. It could be, what am I going to eat later? It could be, driving, somewhere, and you're like, I feel like I just avoid traffic. I'm just going to make this turn right here and just go this way.
Those ones always get me, because I'll hear it, and then sometimes I'll be like, okay, now's the time to make my decision.
Move, yeah.
And then I'll hesitate, and I'll be like, I knew I should have gone down that other... And I'm stuck in
traffic.
traffic, yeah. I hate those ones.
Yeah. Well, those ones are tough, because those are like split decisions, and I would try not to hesitate too much on the road.
Yeah.
Get into an accident. But
true.
The clear knowing is I would say in everybody. Now the strengthening it part comes down to our second episode that we did, that we put out, emotions and feelings.
Yeah.
Right? To be in touch with just knowing takes a certain amount of recognizing self and what you feel, and being able to focus on those emotions to be able to make a connection to this knowledge that you're receiving, because if you don't trust that, or you don't know yourself enough, you don't trust what you feel, you're going to discredit almost everything you hear as, well, that's just bogus. And so the only times you're ever going to get something where you're like, whoa, I knew this was going to happen, it's going to feel like a phenomena to you, instead of a constant ongoing, well, this is just always happening. I just always know. Which is, sometimes I say this humbly, I'm right quite often. I'll admit my wrongs, but I know a certain amount of things of what to do and where to go, or what's the best next step, or when to be patient, or what's good for me, or what someone's feeling, or what the intention is, and so I just know those things.
Mm-hmm.
And you can too. I'm not saying I'm special or anything like that. I'm just saying that I practice that a little bit more, and I lean into that a little bit more every day, and to the point where I just know that these things are going to happen. When we talk about manifestation, we go back to that topic. I just know that I'm always in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
And I never question it. No matter what happens in my life, I just know. I don't care if there's this huge bill that just came out that sent me somewhere else, or, there was something that was late or, whatever. I know that everything that's happening is happening right at the right perfect time because I trust that I'm going to always be, and everything I say, I sit and I think about, what's next? Do I act? Do I pause? I just kind of start not. And the only reason I'm talking is because again, earlier when I talk about the very beginning of the podcast with the intro, I talk about a lot of this comes from experience, but it also comes from the Akashic records, right? So I'm basing all of this off of what I've experienced personally in my life, and how I've noticed that it's just increasingly got stronger since I've leaned into it since I was young. There's times when you're in high school, you just know so-and-so's doing something, or, you just know or feel. So it's almost similar, right? They're so close that something's up with your parents or something's up with your friend, or, I just knew that was going to happen, that they were going to do that, and, it was going to mess up their life. So I really encourage, if you want to strengthen that muscle, to be able to sit with your own feelings and get to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're able to know that, you can start asking yourself questions, right? And that's where you get this, I just knew that, you get the answer and you're like, that sounds right. I did know that. To where then it can expand. And I've seen, people that just know things about the future, right? That gift is incredible. I know that's part of this clear knowing, could also be in tangent with the clear seeing, as well as I don't know, I would call it almost psychic predictions, but again, it's all based on the person at its base point. I think you and I have talked about this before, where gifts and abilities also really have to deal with the person itself, where their experience comes from, how much they're willing to open up to all of it, where their traumas lie, of what they're able to hear and see and be able to give to other people as far as gifts go. So if you meet a Reiki practitioner who's gone through quite a lot, they might have a lot more powerful healing than some Reiki practitioner who just kind of studied it and never really had any major trials in their life, and just kind of went on a couple courses and just kind of studied it because it was in the fad. So there's different, you can feel that too, when you're dealing with people, you can kind of feel like, ooh, they got some strong energy about them. There's something captivating about the way they speak, about the way they hold themselves. And so that also ties into the clear knowing. I just know that this person is good for me. I can't explain it. When you meet someone, probably half of these people with almost 90% of these people with a best friend that you have, you're just like, I just knew. I just knew we were going to be best friends. Or your partner, I just knew we were going to be together. That's part of it. That's not separate. These aren't some crazy gifts that only certain people have. I think that's really what I want to try to exploit, if that's a good term.
Yeah.
So that way you don't feel like I'll never get there, or I don't have that in me. And that's really the purpose for this episode. Ooh. We're going to shift some shit. So I encourage you to practice that and just recognize those parts throughout your life of when you are clear, when you feel like, I just knew that, I just knew. That's a part of you. This isn't a phenomenon. Now, the cool part is you can bring that energy to your manifestations. And this is where things get beautiful. And this is what I like to do. When you vision it and you put that feeling on it, so you're combining now clear seeing, clear knowing, and intention. And you're also going to combine, your emotions. So the feeling, which is, there's a clear feeling, which is another one. When you sit with an amount of faith, that is knowing. Can I say that again? When you sit with a certain amount of faith, that is also knowing. And you can play devil's advocate all you want. And I would hope a lot of people are like, that's some BS, because faith is just like trusting in the unknown. Right. But it's also knowing how deeply faithful you are, that it's going to happen. It sounds insane, but you have to have that mindset to really manifest. You see it with billionaires all over the place, or people just creating these things all over the place. They have that insane mindset. Like, how do you know? How do you have that faith? I just do. They just know that it's going to happen. And so this combination of sitting with how things look, imagination, and sitting in the imagination, sitting with the clear feeling of how you feel in that creation imagination, then you get into this, then you bring in that faith of just knowing it's going to happen, and not bringing in those thoughts of this is never going to happen to me. You bring in that doubt, or you start bringing it into how is this going to happen. You start questioning your ability to even make it happen, right? You start questioning where society is and if that's even possible, right? You start bringing in those energies, then you've fallen out of the knowing and you've fallen out of faith. You're not trusting anymore. You don't need to think about those things. That sounds absolutely crazy. You do need to act on some of those things, right? You do need to do your part, but creating the clear knowing and creating that part then allows you to sit there, and once you have that solidified and settled, and you're like, ooh, all right, you start getting chills every time you think about it. You start getting the goosebumps and the, oh man, I can see this coming. I know it's going to happen. Every time I think about it and I envision more things, whoo, you just light up electrically. Once you get to that point, then you bring in the question of, what do I need to do now? And then comes again, we recycle back into the clear knowing. You're going to hear the answer, clear hearing. What do I need to do now? You need to go hit up so-and-so, get out in the community, start posting lives, or start going, searching for people that want to invest or that are in the same thing. You just hear, and then you just start looking and just being open to opportunities, right? You just start taking little actions, and then it's just going to spiral into bigger opportunities for you. You might come along someone who's on the same wavelength who wants to do the exact same thing, and you're like, whoa, cool, all right, you want to work together? Nicki, you want to work together? Yeah, cool, all right, let's do it. So then it just starts to build, and then we are going to funnel into clear hearing, because that's the next step. You get into this clear knowing. You have to develop that faith first. I'd say that's the first thing you got to do. Then when you get into clear hearing, this is where, and you know this one, the Akashic Records really plays a part. I would say, and you can call me wrong, but I would say anyone that has clear hearing or can do a reading for someone and just kind of channel down, I'm hearing this for you, and a lot of readers do that. I'm hearing this for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hear this for you right now. I'm hearing I don't know, I'm hearing bells, or I'm hearing retreat. I'm hearing the words this, and they just hear these words, right? I would say anyone that goes into that space is in the Akashic Records.
Yeah.
I would say that for a fact. I don't think that there's no one that doesn't channel that's not in the records. You know why? Because where else would they be?
Yeah.
There are some, I would say, that are afraid of that, and I don't think... Okay, they're giving me clarification. Only... Okay, they really want to clarify this, because they were like, all right, hold on, we gotta backtrack. They are... most of them are in the records. However, some of them are just hearing based off of the person's energy and what's going on with that person right there. So it may be a joint, feeling. They may not be able to hear so much as far as, and thank you for the clarification. They may not be able to hear so much as like future outcomes or past issues that are holding them in that specific place, right? But they may be able to, what they may be doing instead of hearing from the Akashic Records, they're saying, because some people can't. It's like, okay, I get that because of the intention and the energy and where they're at in their own personal lives, and their own self energetically, they are unable to reach the frequency that the records give off to be able to obtain the hearing that they need for the people that they're giving the reading to. So they only really hear what's going on in their physical world, and they can only really get the energy from the person that they're doing the reading to and hear probably only about the last couple months and the next couple months based on their energy.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's an end I've never thought. Thank you.
Damn.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
So I've never thought about that before.
For
That's
real.
cool.
Yeah,
That breaks it down.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, really breaks it down. Because all that energy sits on you over a time period, and they're saying it has to do with the moon cycles. Nice. Cool. But it's stronger around the eclipses. So you can really feel someone's energy stronger after an eclipse for a longer period of time. And when you're out of the eclipse season, those people can only get certain amount of a reading for you. So that's why I say that when you're getting a reading, you really gotta kind of pay attention to what they're talking about. Because if you got someone that's just hearing like, oh, you just went through this, okay, well, so you're not really in the records. But I would say a lot of people can be. A lot of readers I've met, I feel like can be. They just don't know it.
Yeah.
And it's okay you don't know it. But anyways, so going into clear hearing, this takes I'm trying to gain clarification on what the best way to define clear hearing in accordance to like a broad spectrum, right? Or like that everyone will be able to get it, right? Because there's a different variance when you get into records hearing and then just hearing for self. Thank you. Okay, so that's
what I was about to say is like, I would say like conversations with your soul.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Conversations with your soul.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is, right? Your soul is on this path and this mission. So when you ask those questions of what do I need to do next, or would this be good for me, or does this sound right, or when you start asking those questions, and I encourage you to ask yourself questions. Ask yourself questions. You have something to say?
Well, not quite yet. There was some things I wanted to say, but yeah, you kind of already touched on the things I wanted to elaborate on, was just like how to get to a point of where you can listen and you can open up to these like gifts and abilities, like, but you started going down it already a little bit.
What was your journey like?
Man, I feel like I had a lot of self-doubt at first, but I also was like really confused about what a lot of it was, and I feel like it was like mixed in with like me feeling like I was crazy, or like other stuff I was doing was like influencing me. And but I feel like the foundation of like being connected was always pretty strong, so I didn't have like a hard time like knowing that I was connecting with something bigger. I feel like the hardest part for me was just believing in myself. And like, cause like even with Reiki, I feel when I was tapping into like hearing for other people, like I had to let go of a lot of these like personal just like beliefs and insecurities, and like cause that's like all ego based. And I remember like first starting out, it was like I would get afraid to like try and do that for someone, but then like I would just like the way I would get out of it is like just holding like the highest intention for that person. And like at that point, once you remember like the cause and like your purpose and like why you're there in the first place, and just like how beautiful that energy is, then like I feel like that's when it gets easier to hear. But then but I feel like there's always going to be self-doubts, but like that's just a part of like your everyday practice of like it's going to get deeper. You're going to figure out more things about yourself that you're either afraid of, or like it could shift and evolve into other things. Like I don't know, like I feel like letting go and like of your trauma and your past, and like just knowing that you are more powerful than like what you've been given and what you've been told your whole life. Like that's like the biggest thing, is like believing in that and like following through with that. It like changes your life immensely once you start doing it. And then there can be like obstacles and stuff for you to like even dig deeper. And like what I've found through that, like sometimes I don't always know exactly how it's fitting with my life. Like sometimes I'll get really deep inspirations through things that I love, and like that's where I mostly like find like my abilities and my gifts, is like once I return back to this like huge like beautiful unconditional love. Like that's where I feel like I find most of my like I was gonna say motivation, but it's more than motivation. It's like
that's a good term to use.
Yeah. But yeah, and then but I feel like it always is like not a challenge, but it's always like good to sit with your intentions and know that some decisions are going to be hard to make, but that's like where the growth comes in. And like just surrendering to that in that moment can change your life, or you can keep just like going through every day that you live and you see these changes that you want to make. But then like I'm kind of like touching on like the voice that you're hearing that's like guiding you towards your path to like a higher like self.
Right.
And just like recognizing the voice, I feel is important in having a foundation of like self-love and like wanting better for yourself. Because like if you don't want better for yourself, then you're gonna be stuck in this like, I don't know, numbness to feel something. Like you want to feel like you're trying to get life from somewhere else, like outside of yourself, when really like your life is like flows through you. And like that's, I think about like that's life force energy, and like whether or not you're allowing that to flow through your whole body. And like and like I guess exerting it. I don't know if exerting
Yeah.
it, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's the connection that you're listening to. That's the clear hearing right there. That's the biggest part. Being able to hear that clearly without any muddled self-doubts that you're talking about, like that you battle. Mm-hmm. And the big part is like when you hear that, what do you feel when you hear one voice compared to the next? Right?
Yeah.
And then you trust that.
yeah.
Hold on. Wait, this guy over, like the classic, the angel and the devil on your shoulders.
Dude.
Well, that guy actually, that felt pretty good. But then you have to recognize that although that feels good, you're probably going to have a fear over here that makes it feel daunting and challenging. Mm-hmm. But you have to have that clear knowing and that faith.
Yeah.
That, well, I know it might be, but this guy's onto something. Like, I bet you if I do this, I wonder how I'll feel afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, I bet you, and he's probably like, yeah, because I'll show you, you'll give a clear seeing.
Yeah.
This is how you'll feel once you go through this. Watch. Then you do it and you experience it physically on this physical dimension. You're like, wow. Mm-hmm. You're right. That guy's kind of right. This guy's onto something. Or this gal's onto something. What do you want to call it? This thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like you'll know right away once you've made that, like, choice for yourself. Like, there's so much beauty to be discovered within that, and, like so much to just discover about yourself that's, like, there's no words for it. It's like you are literally a flower that's just blossoming.
Yeah.
And, like, opening up to this, like, world of just trust and love and just what you deserve and abundance, like, and like you'll start to feel like this bond with, like, or this connection to, it's literally just love, but like it's weird that that's a dynamic too. We touched on that, and I was gonna say touched. We did everything about that on this
Nicki's
last
glitching.
episode.
She's part of the Matrix.
Dude, I literally just watched The Matrix yesterday.
Dude, me too. Not yesterday, a couple days ago.
Yeah, it's on Netflix again.
Yeah, I love it.
But
Remember when you hadn't seen that movie before?
no, that wasn't me, dude. Don't tell these.
I thought that was you.
No, that wasn't me. You're thinking of. I hadn't seen a lot of movies, I will say that, but The Matrix is
when we
one of
all
them.
watched together.
I haven't seen 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many they have, but I've seen the first one, and I've seen that one since I was a kid.
Did you watch 2, 3, and 4? There's only 4.
Nah.
You didn't watch those?
No.
Why?
Because for the longest time, I only thought there was one, and then you guys told me there was like 2, 3, 4, and then.
Well, the 4th one didn't come out when we were together, but when we were all together and watching it. But the 3 of those were.
Yeah.
You gotta watch them all in whole. You can't just
They guys
sit
all
through
really
one.
good.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
get
okay.
Cut. No, just kidding.
What the hell, dude?
We need a new co-host.
Dude, and I honestly thought about it because I think they had like that suggested on Netflix.
Of course they do, because they all go in tandem. Of course they're gonna be like, "Oh, you watched the first one? Here, you want to watch the second one?"
And I thought about it, I was like, should today be the time I friggin' watch them all? But I don't know. I didn't have the energy to do it at the time. The first one, though, I love that movie.
Yeah, sure you do.
Whatever, bro. Whatever, dude.
Oh
Man.
So you're right. Through, I mean, everything you're saying, I'm gonna agree with all of it. They're just giving me shit. Like, hey, agree with everything, and then try to recap what she said. And you're like, I can't. I'm just kidding.
No, I feel that, dude.
But
I know
so that energy though, of the clear hearing, since we're still kind of on that, that is a connection to your higher self. That is a connection to also your guides, ancestors, anybody that's with you along your life's journey is kind of the way I say it, your soul's journey. And I want to encourage this too. Who cares what their names are? Please. You want to ask their names? Sure. But I say this every time when they go, "Who's they?" or, who's they that you're talking about? Oh, what's their name? I go, well, what's the name gonna do for your personal growth?
Yeah.
What's the name have to do with anything?
Yeah, I never even thought about the names
So many
at
people,
all.
Really? Were like, I want to know who they are. Who's they?
Yeah.
And like, I just get a feeling. I'm like, well, usually if it's like a really grounded, I'm like, oh, it's an ancestor. It's someone that's been with you. Sometimes usually it's like just really floaty and direct and very, and I'm like, okay, that's like an ascended master. That's like some sort of light being that's like helping you throughout this process.
Damn.
So like, I just do that, and I'm like, that's all you need to know.
I never really differentiate between the two, but I actually, now that you say things about ancestors, like, I feel whenever if it's ancestral, it's like a crazy, like, familiar, like, full body experience, and that's insane. Like, almost like, damn, like, I'm just like here in this moment, and I know exactly that, like, I've been here before, I've experienced this, or like there's just like a deeper knowing about what's happening than I don't know. It feels like, I don't know.
Feels like home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because it is.
Yeah.
Technically, it's all those people that share the same genes and same sort of energetic expression, which is going to sound weird because if you were to boil it down, my whole family, anybody that's in my like direct blood, shares the exact energy that I do. There may be there's going to be some differences, right? Some major differences. There's going to be some uniqueness. But that's also in the way that they decide to grow themselves, right? I chose to learn and to really grow. And so my path looks completely different than the rest of my family. Maybe there's some in my past and history that may have had the same thing. But I just know that it's completely different. There are similarities. I mean, I've like felt like, oh, that's my dad talking, making it. That's my dad making a joke, right? That's so funny. I catch myself all the time. Like, I sound like my dad, or I sound like my mom. But there is a different intentional pathway that I think I asked for when I was really young, which has led me to be able to be where I am today. So the ancestor part, I don't feel it so much anymore. For other people, yes. For myself, not so much. And not to say that I'm not connected with them anymore. It's just I feel like I've grown through so much of like the patterning that my ancestors felt and went through that I don't hold on to it as much anymore, and I don't go through that same cycle of patterning anymore. Right? That it's shifted out of my own personal energetic expression, that I now am freer and not tied into the same cyclical patterns that they may have been in the past.
Damn, dude, you kind of just split my brain just then, because like so I think I have two different perceptions of ancestral, and I know the two that you've, like, now that you say it in that way, like, I can identify both within my experience, but like, so ancestral, like, that energy that you're saying as your ancestors, that's like, yeah, the passed down trauma and like all the experiences that your family has like carried along with them.
Yeah, not only trauma, it's all the good.
The good
bad.
too, yeah, just everything that's they've been through.
Yeah. Because that gets, if we go down, that gets coded into the DNA.
Yeah.
Their thoughts, their emotions, their feelings, and then they birth that into a new child. And then not only do you carry some of that, But then you start developing your own by the way that you look at the world, by the way that you learn the world, by the way you experience the world. And then you have these underlying subconscious, energetic, genetic codes that start to run through your programming. And so you have to learn through all of that. And as you do that, then you're transmuting stuff, which is why they call it it's an alchemical transmutation. So those that not study alchemy, but those that know alchemy, is you're constantly transmuting those things.
Yeah.
And now that science is understanding that your thoughts can change your own physical biology, by intention and thought, you can do that through your life. Start changing things through thought.
Yeah.
That takes a little bit of time, depending on your experience with time. I believe in overnight miracles, but that's just me. That you can constantly change your biology throughout your entire life and be, something completely different. I wouldn't say I'm going to turn into like some sort of like fucking, I don't know,
Yo, you just
8-armed goon or something like that. I don't know. But like you're just changing like what I would say more of the way that your cells communicate with each other. And the way that, okay, we're getting a little off topic. However, this still goes in with the clear hearing and the clear knowing. They're like, we're veering, but that's okay, because this is a great subject of transmuting, so that way you can hear. Because as you pay attention and ask yourself these questions, going back to that point, you want to ask yourself these questions of, what do I need in this moment? What can I do to shift myself out of this place? Instead of conversing all the time with others, and I encourage that too. Communicating with your community and your friends is great. Asking those questions, or talking to a therapist if you have a therapist, asking them those questions. But also, take yourself into consideration when you're doing this. Take yourself into consideration when you ask those questions, because you have to consider, what does my soul feel? What do I feel would be best for me in this scenario? And then you can kind of take inventory on what everyone else is saying and make a decision. But if you don't ask yourself, all you're doing is living for everyone else around you. So when you're getting into this changing your own perceptions and getting rid of these ancestral traumas and pathways and overcoming generational anxieties, hurts, stresses, pains, and also kind of trying to strengthen the confidence or love or generosity that's throughout your family, or, trying to also not exaggerate, but exponentially grow the good things and kind of start shedding the bad things and bring in new things. It takes an amount of hearing what it is right for you and feeling where that comes from. When I was hearing, communication was always something that kind of really lacked in my family. Communicating our feelings, communicating our emotions, being able to talk to each other in an open thing. Some things were very passive aggressive. And only recently did we start all finally communicating, and maybe it's different. I don't know. To be honest, I haven't gone back and hung out with my family in about a year or so, 2 years, seeing everybody. However, the communication, I know once I start to shift in myself, it allows them to also notice it, because they're your family. They're going to watch whatever it is you do. I hope my family listens to this. I hope they pay attention, and I hope they check it out. My cousins, my aunts, my uncles, my grandmas, nanas, papas, whatever. I hope they listen. But I know that they also feel it. I know that it goes in an energetic way, because we are all connected through that. So I know as I continue to shift, all those resented feelings or things that from the past over ancestors, they can also shift and transmute if they are still present in this plane, right? They're like, oh, they're still learning, right? When you talk about entities that get kind of trapped or stuck or whatever, or, are also paying attention to your journey, depending on your beliefs or not. But I believe that they are connected, and that's why you get those ancestral, like, ooh, this feels really grounded. This really hits home. Like, this is something personal. When you feel that about yourself, then you ask, okay, what can I do to overcome this? Or what can I bring in to help shift this energy so I'm not so full of anxiety at this point, or so full of stress when it comes to this, or being able to leave this poverty conscience behind, or feel like I'm trapped in my family's constant way of being, or stuck in this one place. Like some people like say, I've lived in one area my entire life. My whole family lives here, right? What is that, right? You don't really grow too much. You just kind of stay in this cyclical space when really you can expand your family outwards if you choose to. I chose this sort of life, which is interesting. And so I followed the path. And so now I've recognized what was my family, what was my upbringing. And I've thought about that over and over and over again. And one of the biggest one was communication. Look where I am now. Not only do I feel like I'm a very good communicator outside to other people, which I hope so. If I'm not, please say something. But also internally with myself and my emotions and understanding that. And that shifts something inside of you every time you do that. That's a clear hearing. That's understanding this clear connection. I would say also clear hearing comes with clear speaking, and that's not necessarily really a gift. It can be. Some people, go to school for communication, but hearing what your body needs is definitely part of that. And so hearing what not only the body needs, but what the mind needs, what the soul needs, so that way you can integrate that throughout your everyday life. And that's what changes your biology slowly and surely. That's what changes the mindset. That's what changes the thoughts that enter into your head. Not these affirmations that you do all the time. That's going to take forever. Not the just sitting in meditation randomly. That'll help. Not the yoga. That'll help. But understanding and asking the questions to yourself while you're doing those things will help change that inner biology in the way that you speak to yourself over time. Because then you start to trust in yourself. And you don't experience that unless you experience things in contrast. It's the only way you're going to see that. So, what I mean by that, we're going on tangents. When you're, actually we're not really, we're staying in the same space, but I'm going off, so I appreciate the space. When you go on when you sit with your, they want me to go back to like listening to your family, society, your therapist, right? And you start doing those things. And you recognize, my life's changing just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. I've tried that for like a week or so, or man, I've been seeing this therapist for a couple months, and I'm still not, I'm not getting too much out of it. You know why? You haven't taken yourself into consideration. Your soul's sitting here like, hey, I have answers for you, but are you ever going to ask me the questions? Your ancestors, hey, we've been through this too. Are you ever going to ask the questions? Your guides, your higher life force beings, whatever you want to call them, angels, you want to call them that. Hey, same thing. We have answers. Are you going to ask us though? Because we don't sit and ask ourselves questions a lot. You may ask yourself, what do I want to eat for dinner? Do I want to go to this party later? What do I want to do this weekend? Oh man, should I have a beer tonight? Should I do this? Right? It's all simple, just base things, not okay. What can I change? What can I do to help myself grow in this area of my life in communication? Okay, sit with that. Okay, start just communicating, try to communicate your thoughts a little more. Okay, I can do that. And then you start with yourself. What do I think all the time? What am I thinking? Start just communicating with your own thoughts in your own head. And then start questioning, well, why am I like that? Why do I think those things? Okay, and then you start hearing those answers. Oh, I never thought of that before. What about this? Why this? Oh, I never thought about that either. Why was I always doing that as a kid? Or why was my mother like that? Oh, I never thought about that. And so you just start giving yourself your own aha moments. And it is a muscle. It's going to take some time because for a part of it, you're just going to be like, oh, I'm talking to myself. This sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But you're really asking yourself, when you start asking yourself the right questions, you're not talking to yourself, you're talking to spirit, you're talking to your soul.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking to that inner part of you that knows how to heal you. Why they always say every answer is within. Every answer is within yourself. You just have to take the time to get to know yourself. The famous thing, know thyself. It's huge. It's very true. And that's where you get more, where you can adapt the clear hearing to others, where you can start hearing your intuition on if I should, what, like for the topics, bro, same shit. I don't know. I sat there and started asking, what do we need to talk about? First off, what do I love to talk about? But then two, what do they need to hear? And I'm at a space now where I can get that, go into the collective consciousness and be like, they need to hear this at this moment. Okay, great. Let's do that next. Let's do this topic next. I don't know what the freaking next one's going to be, except we have a guest coming on. But so, and then that allows me to, or that develops over time. That clear hearing develops over time, and trusting what you're hearing. The clear seeing now. Did that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Did that help?
That
like
definitely
clear up, like the ancestral part, that part. I wanted to try and, because they were like, this goes together. The only reason why it's in the space, why we've got that up, is because it ties into that as well. But that's just another way of saying everyone has that ability to get into this clear hearing, but you have to practice it and shift with it, right? Everyone has that ability to do that. There's also, that's why we started with clear knowing, because you have to trust and have faith that that's even something you can do. So when you know that, oh, that's possible, yeah, I knew that. You know, you go on a smaller level, you go on a macro level, you'd be like, whoa, I knew 9/11 was going to happen.
crazy, bro.
There are some people out there that knew that was going to happen.
I bet.
There are some people that knew that, you know, earthquake. There's certain like mass events that are going to happen. There's people that know those things. They hear those things. They see those things. There are some people out there that have developed the gifts so strongly that they can do that. And I can't wait to meet more of those people and be one of those people. I don't know if I want to do that far. I don't really know if I care too much about that. I try to focus more on the evolution of the human race and what we can do as a collective, what that looks like, kind of trying to push people into seeing those things. But I digress. Clear seeing. Damn, I've been talking for a minute.
This is a good one, bro.
Yeah.
This is a good one to differentiate all the gifts.
Yeah, so the reason, and I think also, is I'm actually developing a program for those people that are experiencing this, maybe on a higher sensitive level, or people that are wanting to experience this and kind of tap into it. I'm working on a workbook as well as like an engaging program. So there's a self-progressive workbook that you can just skim through, go through, you know, start asking yourself those things and practice those for a while. And then eventually I'll put out a program where we'll all get together and we'll do it together as a group. And then they said it'll eventually turn into a book, but that's down the road. So I'm working on those things. Those things are in the works. But again, I digress. So going into clear seeing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It is funny. Okay. Clear seeing. One more time. This last one. And there's more abilities, but I would say you get levitation, you get like psychic abilities, being able to move stuff, like that sort of stuff is cool. I just don't see any functionality for it right now. I don't see what is necessary in our evolution that we even need those things. Like, yeah, you can attain those things, and like astral projection and quantum jumping, and those are all things we can all do. People are like, oh, everyone can do that. Everyone can do that. Yeah, you can do it too, sweetheart. Is it? Oh my. Yeah. You want a quantum jump? Cutie. I got that on audio.
Yeah, I could hear her on mine too.
Hi, sweetheart. Waking up from little naps, Keith. Little cat naps. Moo. And back down. But so for the 17th time, clear seeing.
They're like, what is clear seeing? Tell us.
This one is. This one I would say falls in line, and this one's more of a tough, not a tough one. What?
Hey, baby girl.
You got dinner soon, baby. But the Hi. It's not that it's tough. It's that it's differentiating between the hey baby, my sweet pea, you're distracting me. Differentiating between what's your imagination and what is actually the gift. Right? Because when you get into this clear seeing, you could just be like, well, am I just thinking all of this? Right? Am I just creating all this in my imagination? Or am I actually seeing like a future timeline? Or something that's going to happen or that can happen? Right?
Does it always come in like... Is that specifically for like future predictions, or could you say that it's for like either like could you say that what is it called clear seeing would be like getting visions of like let's say whether it's for yourself or for someone else, like if you're in a situation and like you see something in your third eye, your mind's eye, not clues but messages about like I mean I guess it could be for the future because it depends on like you making a decision. I guess like everything links back to a decision, but
yeah, it doesn't always have to be future outcomes though. Like it can be past events. Like some readers can see like, oh, this happened to you when you were this and describe the event, right? That's clear seeing. That's like some people, like if I were to rub against you or like, have you ever seen the movie Glass? So there's a guy in there who, if he touches you, he can basically see like good events or bad events or things you've done in your past.
Damn. That's crazy. That's pretty cool.
And so, like, there's people out there that's a real thing. Like, you could either get it close to someone's energy or feel their energy and be like, oh, so you've gone through some trauma. I see this.
Yeah.
I saw this happen to you. I see you getting yelled at. I see you, trying to make a change. I see you struggling. I see you, sitting in there crying. Or I see you actually... Well, you've actually done a lot of good things in your life. I see you leading, like, in your past, but also future events. So, yeah, you can see past events, too. It all depends on where the current energy is, right, of what they need to hear. So when you're going into a reading, for me personally, what I'm going to see, depending on whether it's past life, which is cool to see, or your present life, whatever's happening to you currently as far as what's needed for your growth as a person and as a soul to kind of help move you forward in life, or set you on the right path, or get you out of this place where you feel stuck or just not knowing where to go or what to do, or you just feel like you're in this monotonous cycle and you need some clarity, right? It's all going to be based on what that energy is now, of what you're going to see from the past, right? Of, ooh, this all has to correlate with this part of your life, that you're recycling this. You're recycling the same energy of maybe it's parents' divorce, or, you know, childhood seeing something, or, you know, when you were really struggling in your early 20s for abundance, and you're recycling this space of bringing in money or bringing in abundance, or relationships now. This is where you learn this about how to be in a relationship, right? So you'll see those more prominently based on whatever they're dealing with currently. And same with future outcomes, because future outcomes all have to deal with, well, not necessarily, okay, I will say about 80% to 70% of what you see as far as future outcomes has to do with how their energy is currently. Some of it also is, this is about to happen to you, get ready, no matter what you're going to try and do. But a lot of the times, too, it's stuff that you can still shift or change just based on the intention that you put forward, right? Some people can see in their dreams, right? Some people get visions in their dreams of like, whoa, I saw this happening, and then it came true, and you're like, ooh, deja vu. How did that happen? You know? So clear seeing is something I would say is useful for self. But I would also say clear seeing also has to go with an intention of and manifestation. The reason I say that is because if you can't clearly see or create your what you want to happen, how are you going to be able to create it? Right? If you can't clearly see yourself in it, right? You can't sit and it. I would say just because if you. Okay, so here's the thing. I want to clarify this. Is there a bug in here, Freya? Careful, don't be knocking stuff over. That's the camera, Freya. Leave it alone. You got 10 minutes before your food hits. Yeah, calm down. That some people I know, if you close your eyes, you can't picture an apple. Like if you close your eyes and I tell you, put a red apple right there, can you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Close your eyes and put. Oh, you can see
Oh,
a
sorry.
red apple?
Yeah, I didn't have to close my eyes.
You don't have to close your. But you can see like
I can
a red
see it.
apple. You can see the stem. You can see like the leaf, one leaf maybe coming off the top of the stem. You can see maybe the way the light glistens. You can see it sitting on a table. You can put it in a kitchen. You can, right? If you can
I shot
build
an arrow
those
through
things.
mine.
Yeah, you shot an arrow through yours. So if you can do those things, right, that's part of clear seeing. And that also takes practice. If people that can't do that, there's those that may not be able to do that, but they may not just be able to do it intentionally, but they still get visions or glimpses, right? And so that's also clear seeing. When you just get, ooh, I just had this vision, like I just saw this happening, but you can't sit and focus and see that happening. I mean, I believe there's a muscle that there can be strengthened. I believe that can be shifted. But I do know that sometimes it's hard for people to imagine things or create things. And so that's where the clear hearing, the clear knowing, and the journaling, that comes into play to be able to create that for you, you know, or you can draw it out if you can draw, and kind of paint that picture so you can get into those emotions and feelings of what it feels like. But the clear seeing is a gift that really doesn't have to do too much with the other two. Clear hearing, you can hear without being able to see, just like you can see without being able to hear. And you can know without seeing, and you can see without knowing. I mean, that's just basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can see you without knowing what it is.
Yeah.
I can know what it is. Like you hear a bird, I can know what it is without hearing.
Yeah.
Right? Or seeing that it's a bird. But when used in tandem is when it becomes more powerful for like the human creation and human evolution as a species. I believe that everyone has these abilities. And I believe that it takes strength and repetition to build them. I mainly want to say this, and it's funny I'm coming out this at the last, should have said this at the beginning. If you feel these things where you feel like you are seeing things, or you feel like you are hearing things, and you don't know where it's coming from, you don't know whether it's good or bad, or you feel like you're getting visions, or you're really going through it, or you feel like you're having these manic things, or you feel like you're knowing, whoa, I'm getting this information about X, Y, and Z happening, and you feel crazy. If you are listening to this, if you hear this, if you know someone that's going through this right now, please tell them to reach out. Tell them to reach out to me directly. You're not crazy. They're not crazy. They're trying to understand exactly what's going through them. And there's a lot of people out there like this. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I can't I'm not going to try and diagnose you. If you've seen a doctor and they tell you to take these things just based on this, they've done tests, listen to them. I'm not going to tell you not to do anything, not to take anything. I'm always going to say consult a doctor, consult a physician, consult a psychologist, right? Don't take my word for it and end all. But I do believe that I can assist in guiding you to a point where you can understand yourself a little better and allow you to live a life more comfortable with who you are and understanding your own gifts and abilities and strengthen maybe the way you use them, so that way you don't feel crazy or alone, or like someosomeone's out to get you, paranoid, which is a big thing with people like that. So, send them my way. Do you have anything else to add?
Earlier I was thinking of something, but I hope it's not off topic. It just came up. Last thing else we gonna say?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what specifically this would fall into, and I don't even know if it's, like I said, I don't know if this is the same topic or whatever, but, like, I was gonna say, like, sometimes when I feel, like, my most, like, empowered, I guess, is, like, when I, like, when I need to rise to the occasion for something, like, and if I'm fighting for something bigger than myself, like, if it feels like, if it's just for me, sometimes I feel like I can maybe fall into those doubts more, or, like, whatever, but if it's something that's, like, where I feel more people are involved, or if it's, like, on a grander scale, like, I feel more, like one time I felt, like, really empowered to, like, make a stand, and I fully believed that, like, what I was doing was, like, helping everyone involved, and like, I just felt like I don't know, like, I knew exactly what my role was, or, like, not my role, but, like, what my purpose for being in that situation was, and, like, bringing, like, clarity and bringing, like, a certain love or energy to the situation. But, yeah, I don't know, I guess I was just saying, like, sometimes I feel like the connection that you have to, like, want something to be different, or, like your cause for what you're trying to change, like, that sometimes is, like, can be really powerful. I guess that's like the biggest thing I was trying to say, but yeah.
Yeah. I believe that. Allows you to kind of like tap into a part of you which you never thought was possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like that feeling is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I totally agree. Like when people are dealing with like traumatic events, they can just be like, "How did you do that?" Like, I don't know. Just tapped into something that was higher than myself and made it happen. You know, there's definitely times when I feel the same way. So I get you. If only you all knew the power of what we could do if we all came together under one roof. It'd be insane.
Mm-hmm.
All the problems, everything would be solved. It'd be a whole different world. We'll get there.
Man, you just gave me another question then.
Sure, shoot.
I can't keep dragging this on.
Dude, we got, what is it? It's only an hour 20.
Okay.
I got maybe last question. We'll do last one.
Well, based on what you just said, do you mean like that separation is the biggest thing that makes us...
The idea of separation, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea that we're not one, the idea that there's a right or wrong in beliefs, the idea, well, there's, you know, good and bad values.
Mm-hmm.
When I mean beliefs, I mean like religions, right? Creating separation, borderlines creating separation, race creating separation, past cultures creating separation, right? The economy, that creating separation, right? Yeah, the idea of, and I believe, democracy. Ooh, I'm not gonna say it, but you see where I'm going. There's no reason to have separation. There's no reason to have this idea that separation is a thing is false. It's an illusion. There is a way to create a cohesive, collective culture. It takes time because you're dealing with so many people that believe that separation is real. And so when you have a battle between those that believe that separation is a thing and that we can't change the ways we are because it will shift the entire world and put us into chaos, when you have a battle with those amount of people and then the amount of people that are shifting into, well, wait a second, I bet you if we all came together and there's unity and we're all the same, that energy slowly becoming more of a thing, you get into a spiritual warfare. You get into, outer beings interfering with the day-to-day because they understand that humanity has a purpose, and to shift us on the right direction, they have to interfere. They always have. They always will. For us to understand right now is not comprehensible because of the way that our mindsets are, which is why you only have some people that are able to connect and get those downloads, and other people who think it's woo-woo and completely crazy, or other people that deal in different rituals, whether they satanic or worshiping something of an evil sense to get away. Talking about people selling their soul, just as an example. You have a spiritual warfare because it has to do with the soul at its base point. So if we understand, and what they're trying to get you to understand is the power that you have as one individual human being, amplify that times however many people are on this planet, and then you see how all that collective energy can create. It's like having nuclear fusion times thousands, millions. It's ridiculous. It's profound. And that's actually one topic I have up here. Humanity as a whole. What that looks like.
Tune in.
Thank you for tuning in with Swimming with Sepsey and for swimming with us today. Look out for the next episode. Special guest coming. And we're going to end that for today. Love
Peace.
and light.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Swimming with Sepsey. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and follow us on our YouTube channel, or listen on all platforms or wherever you get your podcasts. Any support is greatly appreciated. You can find us on our Patreon page at patreon.com/swimmingwithsepsey. You can also follow us on Instagram at swimmingwithsepsey. And if something did arise today, maybe you need some clarification or want some help or just need some guidance and don't know where to go, feel free to reach out to me via email, swimmingwithsepsey@gmail.com, or you can find my website at solelyliving.com, where I offer coaching packages, readings, and things of that nature. Again, thank you for tuning in. Very grateful. Namaste. And we'll find you on the next episode of Swimming with Sepsey.